Are you ready for an Islamic general knowledge challenge? There will be 100 interesting and challenging questions to test your knowledge about Islam, from prophets to history, Quran to hadith, and everything in between. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our videos. Now, let's get started! What do Muslims call the special night prayers? Tahajjud. What special title does Surah Al-Fatiha have? Al-Kitab, mother of the book. Which battle used trenches for defense? Battle of Khandaq. Which companion of the Prophet collected the Quran into one book first? Abu Bakr radiallahu anh. What happens if you break an oath in Islam? Feed 10 poor people as a penalty. Which surah tells the story of the two gardens? Surah Al-Kahf. Which prophet was sent to the people of Madian? Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salam. Which Quran chapter doesn't start with Bismillah? Surah Al-Tawbah. Which caliph started the Islamic lunar calendar? Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anh. What are the names of the angels who question people in their graves? Munkar and Nakir. What is the name of the book that was sent to the last prophet? The Quran. Which prophet is called Khalilullah or friend of Allah? Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Which prophet is mentioned the most times in the Quran? Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Which scholar collected and classified authentic hadiths? Imam Bukhari. Which surah talks about the night of power or Laylatul Qadr? Surah Al-Qadr. Who was the companion who traveled with the Prophet during the migration? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. What is the name of the Islamic marriage contract? Nikah. What is the Arabic word for trustworthiness? Amana. What is the Islamic term for the Day of Judgment? يوم القيامة. What is the mourning period for a widow called? عدة. What is the charity Muslims give before Eid al-Fitr called? Zakatul Fitr. What is Tawaf? It's walking around the Kaaba. What is the fifth pillar of Islam? Hajj. What is the term or the idea that our sustenance is already decided? Rizq. Which surah tells the story of the people of the cave? Surah Al-Kahf. Which Islamic event had no major fighting? Conquest of Mecca. Which prophet was swallowed by a big fish? Prophet Yunus alayhi salam. Which surah talks about a table filled with food? Surah Al-Ma'idah. What is the name of the angel who will blow the trumpet on Judgment Day? Israfil. Which surah is named after a star? Surah An-Najm. What was the name of the Prophet's uncle who opposed him? Abu Lahab. What is the Islamic term for the pilgrimage to Mecca? Hajj. What is the term for the Islamic declaration of faith? Shahada. What is the name of the gate of paradise for those who fast? Ar-Rayyan. What is the name of the Islamic month of fasting? Ramadan. Which city did the Prophet ﷺ move to from Mecca? Medina. What is the name of a spring in paradise mentioned in the Quran? Salsabil. What is the Quranic name for the angel who takes souls? Malakul Maut. Which woman tried to tempt Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in the Quran? wife of Al-Aziz? Which prophet's wife was named Hajar? Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. Which companion was called the possessor of two lights? Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anh. Which angel delivered messages from Allah to the prophets? Jibreel alayhi salam. What is the term for the Islamic call to prayer? Adhan. What is the Islamic word for belief in only one God? Tawheed. What is the Islamic term for the 5 daily prayers? Salah. What is the name of the tree marking the boundary of heaven? Sidrat al-Muntaha. What is the Islamic term for a will? Wasiyya. What is the term for the Islamic community? Ummah. Which surah is named after an insect? Surah Al-Naml. What is the Islamic word for asking Allah for forgiveness? Istighfar. Which companion is called the Sword of Allah? Khalid ibn al-Walid radiallahu anh. Which surah is called the heart of the Quran? Surah Yasin. Which companion was known as the Lion of Allah? Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anh. What is the Islamic view on religious innovation called? Bid'ah. What is the Islamic term for striving in the way of Allah? Jihad. What is the Islamic word for patience? Sabr. Which surah is named after a believing woman? Surah Maryam. What word describes the Islamic dress code for women? Hijab. Which surah stresses the importance of prayer? Surah Al-Ma'un. What is the name of the well that sprang for Hajar and Ismail? Zamzam. Which Islamic month is called the month of Allah? Muharram. What term describes the pre-Islamic age of ignorance? Jahiliyyah. What type of tree is cursed in the Quran? Zaqqum. What is the name of the Prophet's she-camel? Al-Qaswa. Which bird brought news to Prophet Sulaiman? The hoopoe. Which animal is linked to the people of the cave? A dog. Which Islamic month marks Isra and Mi'raj? Rajab. What did the jinn say after hearing the Quran? We have heard a wonderful Quran. What did the Prophet write during Isra and Mi'raj? Al-Buraq. How many ayat sajda or prostrations are there in the Quran? "15." What river will the Prophet have in paradise? Al-Kawthar. Which surah mentions the night journey? Surah Al-Isra. What color was the cow mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah? Yellow. Where did the Ark of Nuh end up? Mount Judy. Which surah is called the Bride of the Quran? Surah Ar-Rahman. Who was the mother of Prophet Isa alayhi salam? Maryam radiallahu anha. What is the Islamic term for intention? Niyya. What did Musa use to split the sea? His staff. Which prophet dreamed that the sun and the moon were bowing to him? Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Which battle was fought during Ramadan? Battle of Badr. What is the Quranic name for Pharaoh? Fir'aun. Which surah ends mentioning Ibrahim and Musa? Surah Al-A'la. Who compiled the Quran during Abu Bakr's caliphate? Zayd ibn Thabit. Who was given the miracle of the Quran? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Which surah says, which favors of your Lord will you deny? Surah Ar-Rahman. Who ruled Yemen in the year of the elephant? Abraha. Which battle is named after a water source? Battle of Badr. What is the Arabic term for the people of the trench? Ashabul Ukhdud. What tribe carved homes in mountains? Thamud. Which group was cursed for changing scriptures? Bani Israel. How many children did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam have? Seven. Which surah is it sunnah to recite on Fridays? Surah Al-Kahf. Who was the first mu'adhin or caller to prayer? Bilal ibn Rabah. In which battle was the Prophet injured? Battle of Uhud. What was Umar's title after accepting Islam? Al-Faruq. How many surahs begin with Alif Lam Mim? Six surahs, and it's Al-Baqarah, Ali Imran, Al-Ankabut, Al-Rum, Luqman, and Al-Sajda. Which prophet's people built tall pillars? People of Ad. Which angel guards hell? Malik. What is the first masjid mentioned in the Quran? Masjid al-Haram? Which verse is known as the verse of the throne? Ayatul Kursi.